This is the number one thing real estate agents miss when generating real estate leads. If you've been trying to generate real estate leads through methods like buying leads from Zillow, running Facebook ads, Google ads, or using different tools like Cold Leads or Market Leader and so on and so forth to get leads, I'm sure you've had that experience of when you're trying to contact these leads, the leads just absolutely have no idea who you actually are, they don't want to talk to you, or you feel like it's basically impossible to convert these leads into clients. So this is extremely common, and when your agents go through this experience, they think that the way to solve this problem is to change the lead generation methods they're using. So instead of using bold leads, they're not going to try Ylopo or Chime or something like that to generate the leads, and the cycle just continues. But even when they do all of that, the same thing still happens. So what's really going on here? Well, after spending over $1 million on ads and helping hundreds of agents generate leads online, one-on-one, the biggest reason I've seen why this happens is a lack of understanding on what should happen next after somebody becomes your real estate lead. I actually saw this silly social media game on YouTube the other day, and this is really a perfect way to illustrate this. Because when you get a lead, there's a set of things you need to do after you get the lead. So take a look at this game. You can see it right here. In this game, it's Tarzan jumping from one rope to another in a forest. And you see that actually if you don't jump on time, what ends up happening is that the alligator eats you, unfortunately. So the same thing happens with lead generation. When you get a lead, you've got a limited amount of time to act, or the leads will rotten and become very difficult to convert, and basically the alligator eats you. And if you don't do these things, it's impossible to run your lead generation profitably, even if you do everything else. And then just like in this game, you have to jump through a lot of different ropes. It's not enough for you to just run through one rope, right, to get to your end goal. You have to run through a lot of them. So what you should do after you get a lead? Well, there's really two components to this that I explain, and then I'm going to give you the exact fix, the exact practical steps on what to do. The first component is the sales process, and the second component is the marketing process. No matter how you get your leads, this is always the case. You need to get super clear on what each of these two look like when you get the lead. The sales process is simply the personal manual reach out you or someone else on your team is doing to get these people on board. The text messages, the phone calls, the entire process around that. And the marketing process is simply the media they consume from you. What they see after they opt in to become your lead, what emails they get from you, what ads they start seeing you from online. And there's a massive waste for most real estate agents in this exact marketing process. Most agents simply put people on a template, a drip campaign they have in their CRM, which always super salesy, huge turnout for most people. Similar to emails saying stuff like, need a true professional by your side, give me a call. Like, that's just not gonna work in this day and age. So what I want to do in this video is to outline a marketing campaign for you to take away right now and use to get this right on point. And when you apply this, the leads you're getting will start to convert at a much higher rate. They'll become a lot more responsive, a lot more excited to speak with you, and you'll actually also get people reaching out to you, and you'll make a lot more commissions from the money that you're spending on your advertising. This campaign is what I call the Omnipresence campaign. This is a marketing psychology applied on a scale where it's instantly gonna put you miles ahead of 99.9% of the real estate agents in your market that are running a similar strategy. So the way this works is just imagine you get a new lead today, and then from that point forward, you'll be showing up in their email inbox, on their Facebook feed, on their Instagram feed, the websites they're visiting, everywhere online. You're showing up everywhere, and the way you're showing up is actually making these people feel like it would be a smart idea to work with you specifically. It gets them to realize that, hey, this realtor, this real estate agent knows what they are doing. I think it would be a very smart idea to work with this person. So how do we create this campaign? There's a fast way to do this, and there's also an easy way to do this, and there's a more comprehensive and elaborate way to do this. And I want to make this easy for you in this video. I'll give you the simple version so that you can just quickly do this and get the 80-20 benefits and then start blocking in some deals. Now there's 9 content pieces you want to put together in your Omnipresence campaign. The very first one is going to be allaying a common pain, problem, or concern. As an example, back in 2020, we had the lowest interest rates basically ever, and there's a huge concern, well, can I actually find a home when I sell my current home? So in that market environment, obviously the concern you'd want it to address obviously would be that, right? You want to show people, okay, this is how you can find a new home, right? You're not going to be homeless. Right now, maybe the bigger concern will be, can we actually sell this house in a quick time span, right? Can we sell this house quickly, or is it going to take for a longer time, or are we going to miss out on some money because we're selling right now? So you want to address these things. You don't want to just blankly just let them be there, right? You want to address these things and then show people how you can fix that problem for them, or show them how you can get around that. Or then maybe if it's a false belief, just explain them why that belief is not the right one. Or similarly right now as well, the common concern could be, as an example, interest rates, right? So if somebody has a low interest rate right now under mortgage, what happens if they shift to a new house and now they have to get a new mortgage? Is that interest rate going to be higher? How much higher is it going to be? And how does it make sense for them to still move forward with selling their house? So all these things, you need to be able to address them and show them in your content to those potential clients. Otherwise, they're simply just not going to do it because they have that concern or objection. Now, the second type of post you want to be doing is client success stories of aspirational outcomes. Let's say you just had a person just like that. They had a house which was too big for them, or it was long area, and then you guys worked together. You guys were able to sell the house, find a new dream home. They were super happy. They had, again, more space or better prices, whatever the case may be, better location. Whatever they really wanted to do, was they were able to achieve that by working with you. Now you can take a picture of that, tell a story about that, and make it into a post. And again, now we can run that to all these people that are your leads. So client success stories of aspirational outcomes doesn't always have to be about allaying common concerns, but generally you can kind of tell that story about how you work with a person. They were able to get what they wanted, were working with you, and that's also going to activate what's called a social proof bias. Now, the third type of post you want to be doing is a personal story post. And a lot of times, this is a very, very difficult thing to understand for real estate agents. But a lot of times when you run an ad on Facebook, somebody becomes your lead. People are actually not even seeing you as a person. They're seeing you as a salesperson. So because of that, there's a lot of resistance behind that. But imagine a deal you did with your referral, or imagine a deal you did with somebody you knew, right? That deal was probably pretty warm. People didn't give you a lot of objections. Maybe they gave you a couple questions here and there, but they're treating you like a human. And the same exact way people were interacting with you when they knew you, you can also accomplish this with your real estate leads that you generate online that are more on the colder side. All you need to do is just tell a personal story. Tell a story you experienced when you were 20, 30, 40, 50, right? Maybe you had an event that happened that shaped your life in some sort of a way, and that's going to allow people to get to know you. That's going to allow people to see you as an actual human being, not just as, again, just as this dark or gray salesperson, right? It's going to allow them to see you as a real human being. So tell those personal stories. You can even add multiple of this. A lot of times we tell stories about our clients getting married or finding a spouse, or sometimes people tell even stories about divorces. But it really just comes down to whatever you do. We have clients telling stories about their fishing trips. You just tell a personal story. That's going to allow people to connect with you a lot more. Now, the next type of post you want to be doing is related to real estate method or process. This explains the method you are using to drive those excellent results to your clients, and it also explains why your method is so powerful. This is a strategy you actually use to get these results for your client. And this is extremely important because a lot of times real estate services are really not that well differentiated. You don't really know the methods all these different realtors are using, right? Nobody really knows. But when you can clearly crystallize it, even if your method is kind of similar, but if you really crystallize, okay, this is what we're gonna do. This is how we're gonna work with you to get you the dream house, get your house sold. And you can list those steps out and you explain to people why we do all these different things to get that maximum price, to get those maximum results. That's gonna allow people to actually see your method, even though it can be similar to other people's, right? It's gonna allow them to see your method for selling a house as superior to other people's methods, because you just clearly explained it, you clearly differentiated it, and also if you named your method in a specific way, it's gonna sort of create like a brand branded that people want to be doing instead of doing the unbranded items. Very similar if you go to a store, you want to be buying a Coke drink, right? You're going to be buying Coca-Cola instead of the other drinks. So you can create actually a brand around your method that's going to allow you to, again, to maximize your outcomes when it comes down to winning those deals from other realtors as well. Now, the next type of post you should be doing is insights people should know but don't know about real estate transactions in your market. And this goes back to the first point we talked about. This goes back to really getting people to understand, okay, what's going on right now in the market and how this is going to affect the local real estate market. So what you can do here, a lot of times people would like to share different statistics, right? Like to share, okay, this is the number of interest rates, this is the number for inventory, this is the number for this and that. But really for most homeowners, they don't really know what it means if there's 2,000 homes on the market or there's 200 homes on the market, right? It doesn't really tell them anything, or why is that even the case? They just don't understand it. So if you can be that person that explains to them, okay, this is what's going on in the market, this is how it's going to affect your life, this is how it's going to affect the overall local real estate market, and they can clearly understand that easily by consuming your content. It's going to allow them to see you as that expert they go for when they want to work with a real estate professional. So again, this post is very, very misunderstood because a lot of times people think that you should be posting articles or numbers or things like that to appear as an expert. But the key about it is that you're able to explain how those things are affecting that individual person and how those things are working in a way that the person understands that. So imagine you're talking to a third grader. This is how you should be writing this post so that everybody understands what you're trying to say, and that is going to create value in the homeowner's mind because now they see you as that expert they go for. Now, the next post after this is why I do this post. This is a core motive behind being a realtor, because a lot of times when people are selling real estate services, you don't really know why a realtor is a realtor. Are they there just to grab money? Are they just to make money, right? Or are they actually there to serve you? And obviously everybody is in the business, right, to make money, but you should also explain really the core motive behind being a realtor. Why did you start being a real estate agent? What motivates you to work with these homeowners all the time? What really drives you to be a real estate agent all the time, right? Because that's gonna allow the homeowner to see behind that sort of main objection where a lot of realtors being sort of perceived as car salesmen, right? These people that are just trying to get your money. But when you can explain to people like, okay, this is why I actually do this. This is why it's so important for me to help homeowners. This is why I actually like my job. That's gonna allow people then to, again, see you as a real person, but also that's gonna allow people to see why, again, are you real estate agents? Why are you helping them specifically? And again, that's gonna drive, if you imagine a ladder, that's gonna drive you upper ladder when it comes down to competing against other real estate agents. Now, the next post after this is gonna be a main objection handling post. So what you wanna be doing is you wanna be listing out all the objections you're hearing when you talk to a homeowner, when you talk to them on the phone, when you go on a listing appointment, right? And whenever you get an objection, just write it down to a sheet. Because what you can do next is you can make posts about all these objections, address them, cover them in your marketing. Because when you do it this way, when you go on that listing appointment, that objection is already handled. So you don't have to necessarily have that 15-minute conversation about that objection, or maybe even potentially lose the deal because people have that objection. So what you should be doing is, again, listing out those objections, whatever they would be: interest rates, inventory, finding a new house, selling a house, putting the house together in a specific way, moving from this place to another place. You should also be addressing your commission objections, all these different things, working with, as an example, somebody they know, working with a relative, working with a cousin, whatever the case may be. You should be addressing all of those objections, and you should be talking about them in your marketing, because then when you show up to the appointment, you call that person, they have the right type of understanding about their situation and their objection as well. So it can be very, very simple, something like, here's what I know is on your mind, and then you talk about those things. Now, the next post after this is gonna be a call to action based post. So you wanna invite people to work with you. This can be done through a message or through a calendar link. It's a very short post. You wanna get right to the point, and at the end of it, you want people to invite to work with you. Now, another post you wanna be doing is also a post about the transformation people go through with your service and how to make it the best as possible experience. So as an example, this post can be something like, moving can be one of the most exciting times you can have. And this is why I love working with my clients so much, is that I know that my role is to take all the stress away from you while giving you significantly more in return. And the goal here really is to paint a picture of what it's like to work with you, and not just talk about money or how much money they're gonna make, anything like that. Paint that picture of what it's like going to be when they work with you. Give them a clear image of what are gonna be the benefits, again, not just in terms of money, but again, in terms of the stress you take away, in terms of the problems you take care of for them, all these types of different things. So these are the 9 content types you want to be using in your media when the new lead comes in to get them excited, get them on board, and also convert them over the long run. Now let's talk about the practical steps. Okay, now we have this media, right? We have these posts. How are we going to be using them, and when are we going to be using them in your marketing to get these outcomes in them? So the first thing you want to be doing is using these posts in your emails. So when the lead comes in, you want to have an automated 130-day minimum sequence that people go through to nurture these leads along the way. You want to have a post every couple of days going up to the email inbox, and this way you'll be keeping top of mind with the leads that you generate. Email is one of the best type of marketing because again, it's almost free, doesn't cost virtually any money, and it gets you to stay on top of that inbox. Second way you want to be doing this is through retargeting ads. So we need to remember with any of these social media or online platforms, some people use some others more, some people use others less. So again, if people are not, as an example, reading your emails, another way you can easily get in front of them is through the same source you probably generated them through, which is through social media. So you want to be setting up a retargeting campaign in your ads manager with about 10 of these posts that you're running. So you have these posts running to the new leads that are being generated, and then they're just seeing you over and over again on their social media feeds. Whenever they open up their Facebook app, they open up their Instagram ads, you're popping up on top of that inbox all over and over again in their social media feed. Now, the next way to do this is also to run this to your existing leads. Obviously, as running this campaign, this is going to be growing up your database of listing leads you have. So in addition to that, you obviously also have your sphere of influence, you have your referrals, you have all the people that you have already been in contact with before. So one of the best ways we have seen to leverage this omnipresence campaign, again, is going to the same clients over and over again, same leads you have already generated, and then throughout time, when you build a database of 1,000, 2,000 listing leads, you'll be able to easily nurture them along the way, and again, turn them into clients 6 months later, 12 months later, a couple years later. And the benefit of that is that the cost to this is extremely low. To run an omnipresence campaign like this, if you have a couple thousand people, it's usually $200 to $300 per month. So you're really able to nurture thousands of people for the cost of like couple listing leads. So benefits of doing this are huge. You're able to increase your ROI in your marketing campaigns. We've typically seen up to 3 to 5x more return from campaigns as you run this compared to only running lead generation ads, sometimes even more. And the biggest benefit I've seen personally is that the leads you're getting are going to be a lot more excited, they're going to be a lot more responsive when you actually talk with them, because there's more context to who you are, what you do, how you're similar to them, all these types of different things. So again, it's very similar if you have a very cold person, you talk with them, they don't know you, they don't trust you, to a person, again, from your sphere of influence, they know you somehow. Now, the beauty is you can create the same outcome. All you really need to do is just to get the people that come into your world, know you, like you, and trust you. And this is exactly what this type of marketing process produces.